Hello, everyone. My name is Ruthie Marlenee, and I hope everyone is doing well during this time of quarantine and that you're finding some sort of silver lining in those dark clouds, those literal and metaphorical dark clouds. A writer friend of mine posted recently that when Cambridge University closed because of the Black Plague, a homebound Newton invented calculus and wrote his theories on optics, and that also there was an apple tree outside his window, which perhaps might have led to his theory of gravity. Shakespeare, quarantined in an earlier outbreak, also wrote King Lear. So let's look for our silver linings out there. I'm going to be trying to find mine during this COVID-19 period of time. But honestly, I don't mind the isolation. I'm a writer and the author of this book, my new book, Curse of the Ninth, which was launched only a couple of weeks ago. It was launched and it came crashing down to earth, back down to earth, it seems. And then there went all the buzz that it was accumulating. So what am I going to do? Right now, I should be on the first leg of my book signing tour, beginning with up north and then across to Phoenix, Arizona. And from there, I was going to go across New Mexico. I had book signings in Texas, at Louisiana. And then I was to return for more local events here in Los Angeles, back up to Santa Barbara, more local events, including like the LA Times Festival of Books. But alas, all have been canceled or postponed, which honestly I'd been so anxious because I don't like public speaking. So I suppose this Zoom technology is my silver lining. So thank you for indulging me and listening to me as I practice my Zooming here. So at the book signings, I imagine I'd be sitting at a little table topped with my books. I'd be smiling anxiously and nervously, hoping someone would be curious enough to approach and ask me about my book. And I would, even if it was just one person, I'd be so excited to share my story because I love my book. I'm proud of it, and I just want to share my story with as many people as I can. So here I am, Zooming. I imagine I might have been asked some questions beginning, of course, with, so what's Curse of the Ninth about? What's it all about? I'd pick up my book and I'd point to this and I'd say, it's all right here in this little blurb. But that's all changed. I can't do that right now. And as I'm slowly coming out of this past week's fog in my brain, it occurs to me a book isn't always about the same thing, coming from a different perspective. Today, things are different. I see things different. I understand things differently than I did last week or than I did when I was writing the book. Today, my book is about a time in our history, much like today. It's the time during the Roaring Twenties when Westerners had reached a level of economic prosperity. Everything seemed feasible because of modern technology. People were partying, they were spending money, they were having a good old time. That is, until the crash of 1929. And then fear led to panic and suicide and death. And in the case of my story, revenge. Curse of the Ninth is a literary psychological fiction inspired by real events and real people. In 1930, a year after the stock market crash, it was the beginning of the greatest recession this country had ever seen. That is until 2008. And I don't know what we're in for right now or what we're looking at, but hopefully we can rise out of this situation before too long. I love seeing the unity of the world right now, everybody trying to come together to combat this strange pandemic. Everybody's coming together, washing their hands, social distancing, quarantining, staying inside. We've all got to do what we can, what we must to end this pandemic. But back to my story. There will always be stories. Dr. Wesley Marlenee is at the height of his career, the top of his game. Everything is going his way. After 12 years of marriage, he has a new baby on the way, but then he ends up dying. Much like the can-do spirit of humans that we're witnessing today, Doc will not give up so easily and finds a way to carry on. At the moment of his death, he transfers his consciousness into his unborn son. And so his son Charlie has no choice but to carry out his father's plans, carry out his father's revenge. But there will be consequences for years and for generations to come. So others might ask, why the title, The Curse of the Ninth? Is that about that ninth hole of golf? Not exactly. According to Wikipedia, the Curse of the Ninth is a superstition connected with the classical music, the history of classical music. So in essence, it's the belief that a ninth symphony is destined to be a composer's last. There was Beethoven, Mozart, Mahler. You can check into that and see how that story goes, or those stories go. So it's destined to be a composer's last. In other words, the composer will die while or after writing his 10th symphony. So in this story, there will be music. Doc's wife, Phoebe, is a musician. She's a composer, one of the founders and benefactors of the Hollywood Bowl. So there will be music. See the little music notes? Little music notes. There's music in this book. Somebody else might ask, how long did it take you to write this story? Do you like to write? I love to write. And it took me, the seed was planted over 20 years ago. And about 20 years ago, I remember working at my desk as a legal secretary when I came across a story, and I came across some legal documents about a doctor from Glendale. I got excited. I started doing more research. I came across newspaper articles that had been published across the country during that time, articles about love triangles, crooked business partners, forgery, phony codicils to wills, disgruntled ex-wife, another family, court cases going all the way to the Court of Appeals. So I was onto something. I didn't know what exactly, and I got busy trying to write this story. And then the crash of 2008, I lost my job. I was forced to stay home and write. So I guess this was another silver lining for me. I went back to school, earned my my writer's certificate in fiction from UCLA. I workshopped this book. The book got nominated for a James Kirkwood Literary Award. So in 2015, after I got my certificate, I started looking for an agent. And 3 years later, finally, I landed a publisher, Widow, E.L. Marker Publishing. Thank you, Widow. And so here, I finally have a polished gem of a book. And hopefully I can promote it through Zoom, through whatever way I can. Another question somebody might ask is, have you always wanted to be a writer? Yes, I've always written from little stories with the pictures that I would draw, and I've done rhymey poetry, but really I wanted to be a movie star like Betty Davis. I loved her swagger, but I was too shy. So I can write about characters like Betty Davis. And there are some characters like Betty Davis in my book, yeah. In the end, this is the story of how young Charlie, confused and threatened, only wants to live like a normal person and marry the woman that he loves, goals that feel impossible unless he can somehow get rid of his father's beyond the grave influence. The question for which there should be an answer in this book, the question will be, can he find and will he find his silver lining? Curse of the Ninth is available on Amazon and wherever books are sold. I want to thank you for indulging me and allowing me to do my Zoom thing here. Love one another, and virtual hugs to everybody, okay? Thank you.